See here. Awesome. All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot of news to cover. So, grab a drink, grab a snack. I'm having some coffee this morning as we go through the news in the blockchain and Ethereum space. Today we got a really exciting piece of or update to talk about. Of course, we didn't have our live stream on Fridays. We're just jumping back in here, trying to catch up on everything we missed out on. And the first thing I want to talk about today, which I'm super excited about, is ETH 2.0. All right, so the merge of ETH 1 into ETH 2 might happen sooner than people thought. We're going to talk about that, why, what to expect, and a lot more. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people rolling in the chat here. We've got Vikram, Samuel, Avi, M. Allison, Ryan, Jack. Awesome. Welcome. So let's jump into this first item of news today, which is about Ethereum 2.0. So a quick recap. If you guys are new to the space, trying to understand what's going on with Ethereum 2.0. So we are in the middle of a multi-phase migration from Ethereum 1.0, which is the Ethereum that you know and use today, to Ethereum 2.0, which gets the blockchain ready for prime time. It's what the blockchain was always intended to be. ETH 1 was sort of shipped as more or less a prototype just to see if we could get a working smart contract platform out there. If you use Ethereum 1.0, or if you use Ethereum today, if you hold it, or you've used Uniswap or any other Dapp on top of Ethereum, you're using ETH 1.0 right now. So we started the multi-phase rollout for ETH 2.0 last year in 2020. It's phase 0. Okay, we set up a separate blockchain. It's called the Beacon Chain, where we turned on proof of stake on that blockchain, where you can stake your Ethereum to earn a passive income reward. To secure the blockchain. Okay, that's happening as a separate effort alongside everything that's going on right now. And at some point, those things are going to get merged together, okay? So that, we'll have proof of stake as the dominant consensus mechanism for the Ethereum blockchain, where people will be able to stake their Ether, withdraw anytime they want to. And we're getting news that that might actually happen sooner than we thought, okay? So, there have been projections on how long we thought this was going to take to roll out. Some people are thinking this is not going to happen until 2022. But we're seeing a proposal for this to be prioritized after the London hard fork in July. Okay, so what does that mean? I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but let me clarify that. So we've been talking on this channel about EIP 1559, which is a change to how Ethereum's fees work. It changes how Ethereum's economics work with the burning Ether. You might have seen my videos about that. So that's supposed to happen in July. Okay, so the Ethereum core devs, the community basically is focusing on that, and what they're saying here is our first priority, our big major priority right after that, is trying to make this merge happen sooner. Of course, we saw Vitalik's recent merge proposal to deliver the merge sooner, and it looks to me like we're talking about making that happen even sooner. So this is crazy, okay? Because some people, thinking ETH 2.0 is going to take forever to get here, and it looks like it may be here sooner than we thought. So this is really exciting. So yeah. I got people in the chat going crazy here. Awesome. So there's a lot we could talk about ETH 2.0. I mean, I could talk about it all day. I'm personally really excited about it. So one of the most common questions I get about ETH 2.0 is it going to lower the gas fees? So we are still in March right now, kind of waiting for some big announcements about layer 2 scaling solutions rolling out, hitting big dApps. We already have layer 2 scaling solutions right now. But there are a couple of projects that I've, waiting to hit the mainnet, public mainnet release that I think are going to be big. We talked about optimism on this channel. So we're still, what date is it right now? March, it's the 22nd. So we still got a little bit of time. This could be delayed. Also, we don't know for sure, but that was the original date that we were given, was in March. So anyways, layer 2 is a separate layer on top of the blockchain base chain right now, which allows you to make transactions for faster and cheaper. And the results of those transactions get settled on the layer 1 blockchain itself. So that is something that we will use even probably with Ethereum 2.0. So those things on top of one another, those are the proposals that I've seen. Talked about in the E2 community. I've heard Vitalik even talk about that himself. Talking about rollups being used in tandem with E2.0, also with ZK rollups. So we're going to have rollups soon. I keep saying soon. This is all based on the timelines that I see floating around there. Hopefully this still happens in March. We got about a week left in March. If it happens a little bit after, about March is fine on the grand scheme of things, to tell you the truth. Going back to answer that question, like, will ETH 2.0 really help the gas fees? Well, what you really want to look at is layer 2 to really help that in the short term. And we're going to stay with layer 2 solutions even when ETH 2.0 fully rolls out. So I'm excited about that for the short term. So let's go ahead and look at the prices. Let's see what's going on with the crypto markets. Excuse me. So we'll start off with, you have to bear with me, everybody. I'm getting a little congested here. It's allergy season. Let's start with the Ether price. Excuse me. So Ether and, a lot of the major cap coins are kind of in a really similar situation, especially with ETH and Bitcoin. It's been pretty boring for the past, 2 weeks, I would say, maybe 2 weeks. We see a lot of sideways motion. Of course, we saw this dip right here after we went to 2K. But it's mostly sideways. I mean, you see a little bit of a bearish trend here. I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was from Ben Cohen's Twitter. It was saying, like, ETH is his favorite stable coin. Yeah, it's kind of looking like that, right? As always, not a big trader, not a big TA guy. I like to look at the big picture. Developer. I've watched these markets for years. I'm personally invested in this, in mostly Ether, also Bitcoin, some DeFi tokens as well. Do a little bit of trading, but not really a trader. But what I would say, how I've seen this play out a lot, this does not look like a scenario. Oh, I'm not showing the camera. I'm showing the screen here. Sorry. This does not look like a scenario where we're like at a top or anything where stuff's going to nuke downward unless something bigger in the economy like happened, right? Maybe the stock market like tanked or something. This does not look like a euphoric like blow off top or anything like that from the cryptocurrency markets, how they typically behaved in the past, where you start nuking downward for like a multi-year bear market. This pattern typically looks like a consolidation where we went up and established an all-time high, dipped down, have been consolidating, and typically what I've seen in these consolidations in a bull market, assuming that we're in a bull market, is that we see kind of an explosive move upward at some point. Of course, not financial advice. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen. If you look at the long charts for ETH, I mean, you can see this across multiple periods of time. Let me see if I can turn this on log. The CoinGecko chart's a little limited. But you see it with ETH. You see these long flat periods and then boom, a big move up, flat periods, and move up. You know what I mean? So we could range for a while, could consolidate. Of course, we could go a little bit down, but assuming that we're still in a bull trend, which I think we are, we'll probably see this range and then something will happen and then we'll kind of spike up. That's my guess. There's always not financial advice, but that's my initial instinct. So we got any questions in the chat here? Somebody says 2 words, hyperinflation. That's what's on the horizon for USD. You might be right. Okay, so speaking of USD, we can look at some statements from the Federal Reserve here. And look at my Twitter here. Sorry, I'm pulling up the links. So it is some statements on cryptocurrencies from the Federal Reserve here. I'm pulling this up from an article. I don't have all the direct quotes in front of me, so I'll try to do the best that I can pulling it from the article itself. But this was Jerome Powell saying Bitcoin is more a substitute for gold than the dollar. Okay. So it's interesting that they're even talking about this, right? Some people are, wondering what the Fed's stances are on this. It kind of goes with the narrative of Bitcoin being like a digital gold. That's what Bitcoin has been presenting itself as for this cycle, especially for the institutional adoption of cryptocurrency. That's been the dominant narrative. The Bitcoin's not a money. It's not used to pay for things, but it's like a digital gold, digital store of value. Though they go on to say here that like it's not backed by anything. It's highly volatile and therefore not really useful as a store of value. That's what you see here. So crypto assets, we call them crypto assets, are highly volatile, see Bitcoin, and therefore not really useful as a store of value, and they're not backed by anything. They're more of an asset for speculation, so they're not particularly in use as a means of payment. It's more speculative assets, essentially a substitute for gold rather than the dollar. So you can go check this article if you want to. You can actually look at the Fed's, initial actual statements, but that's what I saw come up this morning. What I thought was also pretty interesting. So we also see a lot more in this space moving from Bitcoin to DeFi. We saw a quote from Bank of America, okay, saying Bank of America sees DeFi potentially more disruptive than Bitcoin. Okay, there's no good reason to own Bitcoin unless you see the price going up, the bank says, but it's intrigued by decentralized finance. So let's look at more of the statements here. So it says DeFi has seen a lot of innovation among exchanges. The key factor is that distributed ledger technology, many of the functions which are separate in fiat trading are conducted on chain. So they're talking about how DeFi works. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. So the fact that, and we've been talking about how people are like DeFi is catching people's attention. Okay, of course it is. This is really different in 2020 or 2021, excuse me, than it was in 2017, where people saw Bitcoin going up. I mean, the fact that you have these major players like talking about DeFi, the fact that the market caps have reached what they are. You see the Federal Reserve here weighing in again on cryptocurrencies. It's gotten so big that it can't be ignored, especially when the technology is mature like this. You get folks like Bank of America weighing in on their potential to see DeFi in the future. And honestly, I think the biggest win-win for everybody is people talk about DeFi eating traditional finance. But I think the best long-term solution is DeFi like making a way for traditional finance to bridge over to it, to where it's more like positive sum, because I think at the end of the day we'll probably see at the end of the day I don't think everybody in the world wants to install a MetaMask wallet like to custody their funds and use websites. I think we're going to see more streamlined user experiences like online banking that people are familiar with that do DeFi on the back end, where you can still get benefits like competitive savings rates, all that kind of stuff, where the service offering you that interface, managed with insurance and all that kind of stuff is, taking some sort of cut, but the net result to the user would still be higher than traditional systems. That's my big guess that I think we're headed in that direction, but time will tell. So another thing is, we see, sorry, my links keep opening up on the wrong screen here. So we saw some action from the Wolf of Wall Street himself over the weekend. Found this on Twitter. So first and foremost, we have an article come out here. Let me just make sure this is right. So Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort predicts Bitcoin hitting $100,000. So Belfort, previously a Bitcoin critic, now says he believes the cryptocurrency holds advantage over stocks. And then I saw this also come up on my Twitter right here, where he was replying to a tweet right here from Coin Mamba. So time for ETH to move. And then we've got Jordan laying eyes on it himself. So I retweeted this. I got a big kick out of it. I thought that was awesome. So we got some questions in the chat here. So it says DeFi is new and now not in its final form, especially when large mainstream companies get involved. I think that's true. Somebody says, I can't wait for fees to be lower so they can start playing around with DeFi. Yeah, I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. March is still sort of the timeline for some of these layer 2s shipping out to mainnet. I hope it still happens in March. We'll wait and see. But if it doesn't, I would expect it to be pretty soon after that. As always, even if the mainnet production tools get relaunched, it might take some time for developers to move their applications over to it. Of course, is very low friction for them to do that. But at the end of the day, you still want to test things before users start putting real money into it. So there might be some delay, right? So that's something to manage your expectations for sure. So one thing you can also track, here's a metric. We talked in our last live stream on Thursday before we took a little break over the weekend about the publicly traded companies buying ETH. That's something that I expect to happen more and more, where we're seeing institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies, mostly Bitcoin in this case, where they're buying Bitcoin, putting it on their balance sheet as an asset, as a store of value to appreciate in price. We talked about people kind of taking the next logical leap down the rabbit hole, which would be to ETH, the number 2 market cap cryptocurrency, a cryptocurrency that's gaining narrative as a store of value, especially as EIP 1559 comes out. So we talked about Hong Kong company Meitu. So I hope I'm saying that right. I always think I pronounce it wrong. Buying ETH for their balance sheet as well. Okay. And they started a list here on CoinGecko where you can actually track this. So, of course, there's only one company on it right now. These are the Ethereum holdings by publicly traded companies. So, of course, we got the company I just talked about. The amount of Ether here, of course, it's just one. But I do expect this list to grow, and this is a place where you can track it. Okay. So I guess you can probably change this to Bitcoin. Yeah, we got the Bitcoin companies. You go to the URL bar, public companies, Bitcoin. You see this list, it's got 21 on it. Right now we just have one for ETH. But yeah, you can track this over time, and I do expect this list to grow. So somebody got a question in the chat. So thoughts on the Polygon Matic network. So I have no thoughts on the price of any cryptocurrency associated with that project. But I think it's a cool project. I think they're doing a lot for the layer 2 space. Somebody says ETH's been consolidating for a few weeks. Yeah, that's basically what we've been talking about. And it could even consolidate for longer. We'll have to wait and see. But I expect, if assuming that we are still in a bull market, that we keep trending higher after this, that it'll probably see some sort of sharp move upward. So we've got so somebody says, how do I buy NFT for beginners? That's a good question. Probably the easiest way to do it, rather than like trying to hunt every project, is just go to like a website like OpenSea, see what's trending. Not investment advice. You definitely don't. I feel okay like cautioning you not to make mistakes. So I wouldn't buy something super expensive to start off with. The gas fees are going to be high right now on layer 1 Ethereum, but you can just go to a website like OpenSea and buy an NFT. Of course, I would recommend just buying a cheap one to start off with. A lot of the NFT projects I think are going to go to zero whenever the bubble pops. because they're not all created equally. I'm not saying every NFT is going to zero. That's not what I mean. I think they're going to be NFTs that are very valuable for a long time. But if you don't know how to pick them, then you might be really risky. It's sort of like low cap altcoins. Can some low cap altcoins make you absolutely rich? Of course they can. A lot of people lose their shirts on buying them though, especially when the bubble pops and then they go to zero. we've still seen altcoins from 2017 that never recovered. How to make money with NFT as a blockchain developer? Easiest way. I mean, it's really not that hard to tell you the truth. Like on the grand scheme of things, compared to other things that you have to do. So the managed courses work involved. It's a good question. So I think I can answer this one. So one amazing thing about NFTs right now is that there's so much attention on it, and there's so many people that are trying to make money off these things that they're going to be chomping at the bit to buy stuff. Okay, for speculative reasons. Okay. So if you wanted to make money as a developer, how would you do it? Well, first and foremost, I would try to come up with a unique idea. Okay, of course, there's a lot of just kind of like silly NFT projects that are kind of hypey that you might be able to make some money off of. But I would try to come up with a unique idea for an NFT. Okay, something that somebody else hasn't done before. Go watch my video where I talk about like, is this the next like $1 million NFT project? Where I talk, because in that video I talk about how I personally value NFTs, and like when I look at opportunities to buy them, what potentially makes this project valuable compared to everything else in the marketplace. I talked about the Mooncats project, and why I thought that could be a valuable NFT project, and why I was willing to put some money behind it. There's lots of things that could give it value. Okay, so try to think about that. We've seen kind of innovative NFT projects come along the way. We saw the Hash Mash project come on the scene this year. Okay, so try to think about something that could be unique. That's step one. Well, step one is have customers, have a market that you can sell to. Already done. Step two is find something valuable. And then honestly, step three is just build the smart contracts to do it. And then step four is build the website to sell your project, and they can get listed on OpenSea. Like it's not that hard on the grand scheme of things compared to another business project that would take a lot more effort to get off the ground. Somebody wants to see the nipple chart. Yeah, I will do that right now. So yeah, I want to take a big picture look at the market health. We're going to look at some on-chain analytics right now. I normally look at this when I check the price, but today I just didn't do it. So we're looking at the nipple chart. It's net unrealized profit loss for Bitcoin specifically. I like to use that as sort of an overall market indicator. Of course, Bitcoin is the sort of lead horse in the crypto race. So I like to look at its nipple chart, which basically determines how many people are in profit in the network. It kind of gives you an idea of, where this market might be headed. This assumes that we're still in market cycle phase, where we have these roughly 4-year cycles. I mean, nobody knows for sure. I think it's safer to assume that. Okay, but anytime, what you want to look out for is blue. Okay. So anytime you go to blue territory, that you typically indicate some period of euphoria, and almost every time that we've had a blue euphoric period here, the market has responded by a sharp downward trend for a long period of time. So anyways, look at the nipple metric. We've definitely cooled off here. This to me is a good thing for the long-term health of the market. Of course, it sucks for people losing money at this price level. But it does, whenever this kind of thing happens, it gives us more headroom to go higher, because we saw here that we kissed the euphoric line, then we dumped downward, we got closer, and then we kind of jumped downward. So if as we range, this could slowly kind of reset itself closer downward. So we'll see. Yeah, just Google OpenSea. Somebody's talking about how it's spelled. Yeah, just OpenSea. Sea like ocean. Somebody says that Hong Kong company you pronounced correctly. It's Meitu. Awesome. See if we got any more. I'll go ahead. I'll go and answer one more question here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up early. So let's see here. Somebody says here Ethereum 3.0 created by ex-Googlers. Somebody says, I think they were all waiting for that big dump. I do agree that buying now doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Yeah, I mean, we could see a dump. I doubt it. I mean, we could for sure. I'm just kind of giving you my perspective. Typically, when you see these consolidations and dumps, that's typically in a bigger bear trend. But you never know. How did I get into blockchain development? That's a good question. So I got into blockchain development by watching cryptocurrency prices. I got really fascinated with, how is that even possible? It got me interested in the technology itself. And then I saw the massive potential for the technology. I found Ethereum, and this was back in 2017, and I just jumped in, taught myself. And that back then there was hardly any good learning resources on how to figure it out, how to actually do it. And that's one of the things that caused me to create Dapp University in the first place, because I saw that learning resources are absolutely scarce. It was really hard to teach yourself, and here I am today. So I said, do I hold a crypto other than ETH? Yes, I do. So ETH is the biggest one. I do hold Bitcoin. I hold a couple other DeFi projects as well. That's it. I mean, I do a little bit of trading. I say I'm not really a trader, but that's true. Big picture, most of what I do is just hold. I do a little bit of speculative trading, just whenever I see a good opportunity, but that's not really the core of my strategy. Somebody says ICOs went away because DeFi works better for funding and liquidity. We do see the trend towards token distribution with DeFi. That is true. That is a big trend. I don't think ICOs are dead, but we do see a big trend moving towards DeFi, liquidity mining, and other DeFi token distribution methods. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications if you want to get pinged about these live streams whenever we go live. I know some people are saying they're like, oh, I don't get the notifications. So we go live Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. So 30 minutes ago from whatever this time is right now, and whatever your time zone is, Monday through Friday. So, as always, if you're excited, fascinated with this technology, fascinated with this technology as I am, then how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there, like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero programming experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right, so that's all I've got, and until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.